They were supposed to pay Lil Boosie for the concert before he got there and after he got there. And these promoters, the word is that they say, and they usually are used to running off the money on people. This is not the first time it had happened. And so basically they thought it was like another rapper again. They thought they was gonna be able to run off on the plug. So when they tried to run off with Boosie's money, it instantly backfired on them. The whole Little Rock, Arkansas knew exactly what was going on, because the streets basically turned them in. As soon as Boosie made the announcement saying, if anybody knows the whereabouts of the info on the promoters that ran off with the money, then the OGs from Little Rock came to Boosie, talked to him, calmed him down, because Boosie and his crew, they was ready to let it loose in Little Arkansas and Little Rock, because they knew for a fact that they're not just gonna have somebody come and try them like that and get away with it. It's not going to happen on their watch. And a lot of these people, especially Boosie and people who grew up around him, they grew up in the streets, man. If anybody takes something from you like that, you had to go and handle your business and basically let it be known that people cannot just come and take nothing from you or finesse you or try to sneak something by you or nothing like that. And so he had to put the world on notice. He put Arkansas on notice in the whole South, letting them know you're not going to be able to do this to Boosie or nothing or nobody from this crew. And so they instantly went to stand on business. They sent people outside. They sent people to their hood to find them. People were riding around looking for the promoter dudes that ran off on Boosie's thing, and Boosie went on live and said the janky promoters had got him. And so because everybody keeps saying that, yeah, they steady running off on the money on rappers and everything. And so we don't know, why is it that people keep booking shows with them if they allegedly, supposedly keep running off with the money and everything. It sounds like somebody tried to plant a move, a little way for them to come up. Somebody told them, hey, run off on Boosie with this money or something like that, and we gonna split it afterwards. They was gonna split it $25,000 each, because Boosie was supposed to get $50,000. And so now that they had to go and do a wild goose chase, find them and have them sit down, and basically, if it wasn't for the old heads in that area that pretty much like controlled the situation, those dudes would have ended up having something happen to them, because you don't just take $50,000 from nobody, man. That's a lot of money. People are willing to risk it all for $50,000. And so imagine somebody like Boosie, and he realizes that these young cats ran off with $50,000 that's supposed to go to him. It was supposed to be their heads in the guillotine chopping block. Boosie was ready to crash out all over some money, and basically he didn't care, because he had to set an example. He had to let everybody know that this is what happens to you if you try to take Boosie's money. And so at the end of the day, when the guys, they were in hot water, they was in trouble, and the OGs from Arkansas, they didn't want nothing to go down like that. They didn't want the spotlight being put on them. They don't want to make the block hot, because they already got their own stuff going on. They don't need the extra attention from these dudes running off with Boosie's money. That's bad business. That's gonna make it to where nobody's gonna want to come and mess with them no more. No one's gonna want to break bread with them like that, because they already knew, oh, look at Boosie's situation. They ran off with the money from. How do we know that you're not gonna do that to us this time? So the old heads took control of it and pretty much like restructured the whole entire thing to where they was gonna have to pay Boosie with an extra fee on top, and they was gonna have to give them a cut for bringing them together. At the end of the day, the old heads and the OGs that pretty much got Boosie his money back, now they entitled to a cut of it. They got to get 10,000, 15,000 from it, because if it wasn't for them, Boosie and them would have had caught a case trying to find that money, trying to find them people. They might have never even got the money. A lot of times when people take money like that, it ends up getting spent at the mall, at all the clubs, the strip clubs, and on bottles and everything. So by the time that somebody did find the dudes that ran off with Boosie's money, and by the time they actually got a hold of them, found them, and ran up on them trying to get it back, they would have already spent the money on cars, jewelry, clothes, and everything that you ain't even supposed to be spending it on. And so, if they were smart with it, they would have went and invested that $50,000, turned it into $100,000, and then gave Boosie his money back. And then it's almost like they just ran a little play, like they just got fronted this money to run this little play. But in the meantime, they could have had some serious damage happen to them, because Boosie's cousins, they not playing, man. Boosie's security guards and his whole entourage, they been through it. They been through the Mo 3, they been through the Duke the Jeweler. So they already know, because of Jay Prince's dice game parties, they already know how to get the people back from running off with the money. This is what they do. They try to get Boosie and his crew at his own game, man. They try to get him and give him a taste of their own medicine. Just like how basically allegedly they was running off with all that money from them dice games and everything, and how they set up Duke the Jeweler and all that. They try to do the same thing to Boosie. And so little did they know that Boosie and his crew, once they called the OGs and everything like that and explained the situation, the OGs were on their side. So they were like, okay, we know who it is. We gonna call them. They know their mamas. They know their whole family, the guys that ran off with the money. So they called the promoters and told them, if you don't meet us at this location to have this sit down talk by this time, then whatever happens to you, we're not going to try to save you. And so they gave him an ultimatum. They said, either bring the money back, or it's going to be people coming to you looking for you. And it pretty much scared them straight into meeting back up, because it was the OGs, and they had the OGs from Arkansas, Little Rock. A lot of people got a lot of respect for him. So when they talk, people listen. And when they said, son, you best come back to this location with Boosie's money, or it's gonna be your behind, basically, is what they told him. And so once they heard that, they quickly came back to return the money. Boosie was so happy when he got the money back, he instantly broke off the OGs a couple $1,000s each, because they had earned their stripes. They had earned that, because they actually got back $50,000 that somebody stole from Boosie. Like, Boosie got robbed. Most of the time when people get robbed, they never see any of that stuff ever again. So Boosie, he should consider himself lucky in that he had these old heads, the OGs, who've been in the area for a long time. They keep an eye on things. They know who's hitting licks, who's not hitting licks. They know when anything goes on, because nothing happens in Arkansas without them approving it first, or without running it through them, as far as they always hear everything. They have an ear to the streets. And so once they heard Boosie was in trouble, he was in a situation where he was all out of money. Boosie needed that $50,000 to make it back home. He was trying to get back to Atlanta, Georgia, so he could pay the mortgage on his real estate houses that he just built for his son and daughter. And so all them fish in the koi pond was waiting to get fed, and Boosie needed that $50,000 so he could go buy fish food and dog food for his animals and pets and his kids and stuff, and put food on the table and a roof over their head. So it was serious, man. And if they wouldn't have brought that $50,000 back, it would have all broke loose in Little Rock, Arkansas. You would have seen it on the news. 2 people found this and that, and Boosie connected, and the feds on this and that. It would have been a bad situation and a bad look on Boosie, especially since he's actually trying to get out of that 5-year bid. He's technically supposed to be keeping a clean image. He's not supposed to get in no type of altercations, because that could be brought up in his trial, in his case, because he's got a Fed case of a 5-year sentence that he's gonna have to do, all because he got caught at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people, and they caught him on live with the straps and the blickies and everything. So if he would have had one of his people do something to these promoters, and these promoters went and told on Boosie, oh man, it would have been over with. Boosie would have got an instant mandatory minimum 20 years, and it would have been pretty much a wrap for him. And so luckily Boosie didn't crash out. And that's a good thing, because had Boosie crashed out, we would have never seen him again, because everything would have happened so quick. And that Little Rock, Arkansas is a small town. Like, they would have found those promoters within an hour or two. Those promoters are lucky that Boosie and his people even had the mind frame, the mind state to call the OGs and say, you know what, let's try to do this the right way, where nobody gets hurt. And so because push came to shove, and it basically had to go that far, now Boosie can't trust no more promoters. He's gonna take a break from doing shows for a couple weeks and make sure that he does his homework on every promoter that he has to do work with, because they should have known that those 2 dudes were already running off with the money on everybody that came and did a show in Little Rock. his team should have went and did their homework and asked the people in the area, hey, how's business with these people? How's business? They should have asked all the other rappers and everything like that. But this is what happens when you try to make a quick buck, and Boosie needed to come up with a lot of money in a shorter period of time because he's got fees and things that he has to cover for all the trouble that he's been in and the money he owes to all the people, like especially the dudes that are still trying to get back the money from the Duke the Jeweler robbery. And so now that this whole thing happened, is basically set Boosie in a trance to where now he's gonna have to double check each and every show that he goes to make sure that he's gonna get his bread when he shows up. So let me know what y'all think about this whole entire thing.